The first thing that I wish I knew about chickens before getting them is just how hardy they really are. They are so hardy in winter, it's honestly unbelievable. I didn't think that when I first got these chickens that they would be very cold hardy, even though they're technically cold hardy breeds. I just didn't think that they would actually be this cold hardy. So I actually did research into like getting a heater lamp and heating up the coop and everything, which I found out is actually a very dangerous idea, and I'll go more into topic. You want to go, girl? All right, go on. Which I actually found out is a very dangerous idea for you to keep a heater inside the coop because it poses fire risk. It makes it so your chickens cannot naturally acclimate to cold weather, and it's overall just a very bad idea. Additionally, they don't hardly require any maintenance at all. The only kind of maintenance that you have to do for them is just to clean out their coop once a week and clean out their water every 3 days, which you're naturally going to do anyways. You could just put it into a weekend chore routine that you already have, available anyways. So really, they don't come with hardly any maintenance at all. And it's because of that low maintenance status that they are so hardy against disease and infection. And if you just take very good care of them, they will take good care of themselves. You can't go wrong making sure that your hens are happy because, they want to live too. So they're going to do their best to make sure that they are healthy, and therefore you need to make sure that you're doing your best to provide that healthy environment for them. The next the next thing I wish I knew about chickens is how resource efficient they are. You can feed them all of your dinner scraps, any food scraps, any vegetable cutoffs, any old moldy food. They have no problem eating anything that has mold, fungus, anything that you and I would not be interested in eating. Chickens will gobble that up all day. So you don't really hardly produce any extra food waste because all the food that you throw out into your compost bin or out onto the ground because you're done with dinner, the chickens will gobble that right up. They love your leftover scraps. And the best part is that unlike a dog that might be chewing on your food scraps and then they get a bone stuck in their throat and then you have to go to the vet and get a very expensive vet bill, chickens are small enough that they can't really risk eating a bone, for one, and for two, they eat everything, absolutely everything. The only things that they really can't eat are potatoes, like raw potatoes, raw beans, raw onions. I think that's pretty much it. I'm sure I'm forgetting like one or two things, but there's almost nothing that you can't feed them. There's almost nothing that you can't not feed them, so to speak. Now, as much as I've been glazing them for the first 2 points, the third point is unfortunately a negative point about them, and that's that they are very dusty when you get them as chicks. Some of that is due to the feed that you give them because chick starter feed tends to be so micro-pelleted that it has to be dusty for the chicks to be able to eat it. But another part is that when they are young chicks, like 2, 3, 4 weeks old, a month or less old, they're just going to explore everywhere. They are going to, test their wings. They're going to do everything that a human toddler would do. They're going to cause trouble. They're going to get out of the brooder box. They're going to fly. They're going to exercise their boundaries as, any normal person would when they're just exploring the world. So if you do end up getting new chicks and you do the thing that I did where I put them in the basement thinking that my basement would be a-okay, be sure that you get some type of cover for them so that way the dust doesn't fly absolutely everywhere, because that dust will go everywhere. Like genuinely every corner of my basement, even though they were in the one corner basement, they were still all the way, there was dust all the way on my workout station, which was on the complete opposite side of the basement. So the fact that they spread dust so easily just means that if you do decide to get chicks, be sure that you have a way to cover those chicks. But even more importantly, I'd say, make sure that you get a form of a heater pad instead of a heater lamp, because the heater pad, for one, makes it so the heat is a lot more naturally contained within the box, but it also makes it so that way it's much less of a fire hazard, because the bulbs that they put on those lamps are so incredibly hot that if you use a cardboard box or you have cardboard holding up the water station or anything that can catch fire easily, there is always that possibility that it could catch fire if you're not careful or if you put it in the bad spot, whatever, right? So that is something that I wish I knew, is how dusty they are. I wish I covered my chicks better. I wish I had them contained better. They were pooping all over my floor and everything. Yeah, take it from me. The fourth thing I wish I knew, which is going to kind of link back to what I just said, is just how mobile these chickens are. These chickens, when you don't clip their wings or you don't inhibit their mobility in any way, they are going to find a way to fly up to unbelievable heights. They are going to be able to climb trees. They're going to be able to fly up to 6 feet high. They're going to be able to be absolutely insane escape artists. And unfortunately, when one of my chicks decided to be an escape artist in the empty lot behind my house, somebody's stray dog just happened to be running on the street as my chicken was in the backyard. And the dog saw the chicken, and then the predator instincts happened, and then, well, I'm down one chicken. Now, luckily, I've only lost one chicken so far in my entire time of owning them over the last year, but it still stings. So be aware of how mobile your chickens are, because chickens are naturally escape artists. And one thing that I've done since the dog incident is I put up fishing line above my fence. It's like a very thin line that I use for salmon fishing, but I put it about 6 inches above my fence. And what that does is that whenever the chickens fly up onto the fence, they sense the string, and that sensation is very uncomfortable on their feet, because they're, you know, the string's like pushing on their feet, and then they're going to get uncomfortable sitting on the fence, and they're not going to want to fly over it, so they just fly back down from where they came from. And now I haven't had a single chicken escape ever since putting fishing line 6 inches over my fence. But something else you can do that I personally find very unethical and I would not recommend is clipping one of their wings when they are chicks. What this does is it makes it so when they flap, one of their wings is at an imbalance, so they're flapping with one wing this hard and the other wing this hard, and it makes it so that way they end up not being able to actually take off, and they just lose a lot of mobility. Yes, this will make it so that way your chicks don't actually fly off into the atmosphere, but it's also going to get rid of one of their primary defense mechanisms against ground-based predators. This includes cats, this includes dogs, this includes possums and raccoons, and literally any land-based predator that they could face, they're going to have a much riskier chance against, should any of them find their way into their yard. And skunks and possums are very resourceful animals, and they will find a way into your yard. So even if you do clip one of their wings, they're still going to be at threat against these animals from time to time. So that's why I don't recommend clipping their wings, and I would instead just make sure that either one, your fences are high enough to contain your chickens, or two, you add some sort of uncomfortable resistance, whether it's with electricity, with fishing line, anything that makes it so that way when they land on your fence, it's an uncomfortable sensation and they don't want to fly up there anymore. Finally, the fifth and final thing that I wish I knew about my chickens before getting them is just how drastically their egg production drops in winter. Now, of course, when I was initially doing my research, they have breeds that say lay well in winter. And when I see the words lays well in winter, I would then assume that they lay well in winter. Well, come to find out is that lays well in winter means that they continue to lay in winter, where other breeds will just stop laying eggs entirely in winter, but that doesn't mean that they lay well. So what that meant for me is that previously during the summer months, when my chickens were laying eggs like crazy, I had 9 hens and I was getting like 7 to 8 eggs a day. That'd be lower, it could be 9 eggs a day, it could be 6 eggs a day, but on average I was getting 7 to 8 eggs. And then when winter came, all of a sudden I'm only getting 0 eggs a day. Sometimes I'd get lucky and I get 2 eggs a day, but still for the most part I get like 1 egg a day out of 9 hens, which I thought was ridiculous. Now, if you missed it, I made another video going over what you can do to speed up the process of molting, which is what your chickens go through in winter, which is why they don't lay eggs. But another thing that you can do to help reduce the amount of downtime that you have from not getting eggs is to buy chicks in autumn. And then when those chicks are raised, they're going to be raised in winter, and when their maternal instincts kick in, when they're like 3 or 4 months old, when they first initially start laying eggs, it's their first time laying eggs. Their hormones are going crazy. They're just going to poop out eggs like it's summer. So something else that you can do that I did not mention in that video that I didn't do until after realizing my mistake was I didn't get autumn hens. I did not get chicks in autumn that would be able to continue laying eggs in winter. So between helping your chickens molting and getting new chicks that are winter layers, you could actually really limit the amount of eggs that you don't get in winter overall. But the egg production overall will still dip a lot in winter, and there's not really much that you can do about that without artificial lighting, unfortunately. So in the best case scenario, you help your chicks through molting, you get autumn chicks that'll lay through winter, and you just hope for the best, hope that you don't experience such a long downtime like I did. If you want to watch another video from me going over the reasons why you should start raising chickens, I've got a whole video right here going over the topic. It's about 20 minutes, full of information about why you should start raising chickens. Take care, and I'll see you around.